So now we're going to graph a quadratic equation, y equals x squared plus 4x minus 5. We're going to first answer whether it opens up or down, find the vertex, find the axis of symmetry, the y-intercept, the x-intercepts, and then put them all together on the graph. The up or down, remember, is if the coefficient in front of the x squared is positive, which it is, then it opens up, which means that the parabola is going to have this kind of a shape. If the number in front of the x squared were negative, then it opens down. To find the vertex, the first coordinate of the vertex, we will use the little formula, opposite of b divided by 2a. And we'll go to our equation here. A is 1, the coefficient of the x squared, and b is 4. So the opposite of b divided by 2a will equal a negative 4 divided by 2 times 1, which is negative 2. So that means that the x-coordinate of the vertex is at negative 2. And we still need to find the y-coordinate, which we get by plugging the negative 2 in for x here and here. So this tells us that y equals negative 2 quantity squared plus 4 times negative 2 minus 5. This is the same thing as positive 4 plus a negative 8 plus a negative 5. 4 plus negative 8 is negative 4, plus a negative 5 makes negative 9, so the y-coordinate of the vertex is at negative 9. The axis of symmetry is easy once we have the negative b over 2a value of negative 2. The axis of symmetry is always the vertical line with the equation x equals, and then that value, the negative b over 2a value, which is negative 2. That's the equation of the axis of symmetry. The y-intercept is also pretty easy because the y-intercept, where it passes through the y-axis, every point on the y-axis has an x-coordinate of 0. So that means if we plug 0 in for x here and here, the y value we're left with is negative 5. So the y-intercept is at 0, negative 5. And that value of c right there is always going to be your y-intercept value. The x-intercepts are going to take a little more work. The x-intercepts all have y values that are 0. So if I plug a 0 in for y in the equation, plug a 0 in for y here, 0 equals x squared plus 4x minus 5. We want to solve this equation for x. Those values that make this equation true will be where our x-intercepts are. So you can solve this by factoring. And remember, you can use your diamond if you want. You get a negative 5 on top and a positive 4 on the bottom, and it looks like a positive 5 and a negative 1 multiply to be negative 5, add to be positive 4. Because the coefficient in front of the x squared is a 1, we don't have to split the middle term. We can just write our factors as x plus 5 times x minus 1. Zero product rule says we can set each of those equal to 0 and solve for x. X plus 5 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0, and then we get, subtracting 5 from both sides here, x equals negative 5, adding 1 to both sides here, x equals 1. So this gives us our x-intercepts at negative 5, 0, and positive 1, 0. That's the information that you will be asked for, and then you should be able to put all this together on the graph and make a graph of what the parabola that has this equation looks like. Start with the vertex at negative 2, negative 9. That's 2 to the left and 9 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the vertex is right there. And if nothing else, you know that the parabola is opening up like this. You know it has that kind of a shape with that as the vertex. The axis of symmetry, I'm going to draw in a vertical line here, dotted line, at negative 2. So the axis of symmetry means that if I have any point on one side, I can have a symmetric point on the other. And then the y-intercept is at 0, negative 5, so that's 0 right or left, 5 down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I have that point, then I have another symmetric point right there, 2 units to the right, 2 units to the left. Then I also have x-intercepts at negative 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and at 1, 0 right there. So everything should look symmetric. If this point is 3 to the left, this point is 3 to the right. If that doesn't happen, then you have to go back and double check your work and make sure that everything is accurate. But it appears to be correct, so we're going to draw our parabola passing through these points. Curves down, curves up, passes through those points, and it keeps going up like that. So here's the graph of the parabola. If you're asked to label the coordinates of the vertex, -2, -9, label the equation of the axis of symmetry, x equals -2. Here's your y-intercept, here are your x-intercepts, and that is your graph.